I always knew my sister was worth more than me. Not in the way most siblings feel it. This was different, clinical, measurable. Like the way my mother's eyes would linger on Cadence's report cards but skim past mine. The way my father's hugs lasted exactly 2 seconds shorter when they were for me. My name is Margaret, and I've spent 25 years being the other daughter. The one whose achievements were footnotes to Cadence's chapters. The one who learned to speak softly because no one was really listening anyway. Margaret, come help me with these photo albums. My mother's voice carried from the living room, sharp and demanding. I found her surrounded by leather-bound memories, each one cataloging Cadence's golden moments, dance recitals, piano competitions, graduation speeches. We need these for the hospital fundraiser, she said, not looking up. People need to see what they're saving. I sat cross-legged on the floor, picking up a photo of Cadence in her prom dress. Mom, about the surgery. We've been over this. She snapped the album shut. The doctors say she has months, maybe weeks. You're a match. End of discussion. But I haven't what? Decided? This isn't about decisions, Margaret. This is about duty. Family. She finally looked at me, her eyes hard. What else were you planning to do with your life anyway? The words hit like a slap. I stood up, hands shaking. I have to get ready for work. Sit down, she commanded. Your father will be home soon. We're having a family meeting. 2 hours later, we sat around the dining room table. Me, my parents, and Cadence. She looked pale, smaller somehow, but still beautiful, still perfect. The surgery is scheduled for next month, my father announced, sliding papers across the table. We need you to sign these consent forms today. Cadence reached for my hand. Maggie, I know it's a lot to ask. It's not asking, my mother interrupted. This is your purpose, Margaret, the one meaningful thing you can do for this family. The room went silent. Even Cadence looked uncomfortable. Kim, my father warned softly. No, Adam. She needs to hear this. My mother leaned forward. Your sister has gifts, talent, a future. What do you have? A dead-end job, no relationship, no direction. At least this way, you'll have done something that matters. I signed the papers. What else could I do? The next morning, I went to the hospital for pre-op testing. Blood draws, tissue typing, forms and more forms. That's when I met Amy, the nurse with kind eyes and a worried frown. She drew my blood with gentle hands, making small talk about the weather, my job, anything but kidneys and sisters and duty. Just as I was gathering my things to leave, she touched my arm. Wait, she said, glancing at the door. I need to show you something. Is there a problem with the tests? She bit her lip. You should see this yourself. She pulled out a file, hands trembling slightly. I could lose my job for this, but I can't stay quiet, not about this. About what? Your blood work results came back. She paused, her voice dropping to a whisper. Margaret, according to these tests, you're not actually related to your family. At all. The room started spinning. That's impossible. There must be a mistake. No mistake. She pulled out another paper, this one older, yellowed. I found this in your archived records. You need to see it. I looked down at the document, and my world shattered. It was an adoption paper, dated exactly 1 month after Cadence's kidney diagnosis, 23 years ago. There's more, Amy said softly, but we need to talk somewhere private, right now. I clutched the paper, my hands numb. All those years of feeling like an outsider, of never quite belonging, it hadn't been in my head at all. Amy led me to an empty consultation room, checking twice to make sure no one followed us. My hands wouldn't stop shaking as she closed the door. I've been a nurse for 20 years, she said, pulling more papers from the file. I've seen a lot of things I wish I hadn't. But this... She spread the documents across the table. This is something else. Birth certificates, medical records, adoption papers. Each one a piece of a puzzle I never knew existed. Your blood type doesn't match either of your parents, Amy explained, pointing to the results. That's what flagged the system. Then I started digging. Why would you do that? My voice sounded strange, distant. Because I've watched your mother drag you to every appointment, treating you like spare parts, I whispered. Exactly. She pulled out another document, this one different from the others. This is what really got my attention. It's a medical compatibility screening from 23 years ago. They tested you specifically for kidney compatibility with Cadence before the adoption was finalized. The room started spinning again. They chose me because I was a match. They found you through an underground adoption network, one that specialized in finding donor matches for wealthy families. Amy's voice hardened. It was illegal then. It's illegal now. I stared at the papers, memories flooding back. The way my mother always insisted on annual medical checks, the detailed health records she kept, the vitamin regimens, the strict diet. There's one more thing. Amy hesitated, then pulled out a final document. This was in your original birth record, before the adoption. A name jumped out at me, Rory Hoffman. Your biological father, Amy explained. He's still alive, and according to public records, he's been searching for you for over 2 decades. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Where are you? We need to finish the pre-op paperwork. I ignored it, my eyes fixed on that name, Rory Hoffman. I could lose everything for showing you this, Amy said softly. But I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. They're treating you like a human organ farm, Margaret. You deserve to know the truth. Another text buzzed. Margaret, answer me now. What? I swallowed hard. What am I supposed to do now? That's up to you. Amy started gathering the papers. But whatever you decide, you should keep these. She handed me the file. And, Margaret, be careful. People who would do this to a child, they won't react well when their plan falls apart. I stood up, clutching the file to my chest. Thank you, I managed to say. Don't thank me. Amy's eyes were sad. Just live your life for yourself, for once. I walked out of the hospital in a daze, ignoring the increasingly frantic texts from my mother. In my car, I opened the file again, staring at Rory Hoffman's name. A quick internet search made my heart stop. He wasn't just anybody, he was a media mogul, owner of multiple news networks. And there it was, buried in a 20-year-old article. Media tycoon offers $1 million reward for information about missing daughter. My phone rang. My mother's face flashed on the screen. I answered it. Where are you? She demanded. The transplant coordinator is waiting. Did you ever love me? The words came out before I could stop them. What? Of course we... What kind of question is that? Come back to the hospital right now. No. My voice was stronger now. I know everything about the adoption, about why you chose me. Silence. Then, Margaret, you're being ridiculous. Whatever you think you know, I have the papers right here, all of them, including the compatibility screening you did before you bought me. More silence. When she spoke again, her voice was ice cold. You will come back to this hospital right now. You will do what needs to be done for your sister. This isn't about you. It never was. I started my car. It was always about my kidney. Margaret. I hung up, hands steady for the first time all day. In my lap, the file lay open to Rory Hoffman's address. It was time to meet my real father. The security guard at Hoffman Media Tower studied my driver's license for the 3rd time. And you say you have an appointment with Mr. Hoffman? No, I admitted, but I need to see him, please. Tell him it's about his daughter. His expression softened slightly. He picked up the phone, spoke quietly, then nodded. Take the executive elevator to the top floor. Someone will meet you. A young man in a crisp suit was waiting when the elevator doors opened. I'm Cody, Mr. Hoffman's assistant. Follow me, please. He led me down a hallway lined with news headlines and awards. At the end stood a massive oak door. Sir? Cody knocked. She's here. Send her in. I stepped into the office and froze. The man behind the desk stood up slowly, his face draining of color. He looked exactly like the photos I'd found online, but older, with grief etched into the lines around his eyes. My God, he whispered. You look just like your mother. My hand shook as I pulled out the hospital file. I have documents, proof. I don't need proof. His voice cracked. I'd know you anywhere, Margaret. I've been looking for you for 24 years. He crossed the room in 3 strides and stopped just short of touching me. May I? I nodded, and he pulled me into a hug that felt nothing like my father's mechanical embraces. This was desperate, protective, real. I thought you were dead, he said into my hair. They told me you died in a car accident with your mother. My mother? He released me, wiping his eyes. Sarah, we were divorced. She had custody that weekend. He walked to a cabinet and pulled out a photo album. Here. The first photo showed a beautiful woman holding a baby, me. She died in a real accident 2 months after you disappeared, he explained. But you weren't with her. They stole you. The Hardings, I said. They bought me for my kidney. His face darkened. Tell me everything. So I did. About growing up as the shadow child, about Cadence's illness, about Amy and the hospital records. With each word, his expression grew stormier. Cody, he called. The assistant appeared instantly. Get Martina up here, now. While we waited, he showed me more photos. Me as a baby, my first steps, my mother singing to me in a sun-drenched nursery. You were so loved, he said softly. I never stopped searching. Never. An elegant woman in a tailored suit entered the office. Martina Baker, she introduced herself, head of legal. They bought my daughter, Rory said, his voice steel, through an illegal adoption ring to harvest her organs. Martina's eyes narrowed. Do you have proof? I handed her the file. She read quickly, professionally, but I saw her jaw clench. This is extraordinary, she said finally, and prosecutable. Multiple felonies, human trafficking, medical fraud. I want them destroyed, Rory said. Dad, I whispered, testing the word. His eyes filled with tears. We'll need to move carefully, Martina cautioned. They'll try to force the donation through legal channels when they realize what's happening. They already are, I said, showing them my phone. 37 missed calls, dozens of texts. Stay here, Rory said. We have a security team, guest apartments. You'll be safe. I have to go back, I said, just once, to face them. Margaret, I need to do this, on my terms. Martina nodded. Actually, that could work in our favor. A confrontation, witnessed and documented. I'm coming with you, Rory said firmly. As we made plans, I noticed a framed photo on his desk. It showed a much younger version of my mother, my real mother, smiling at the camera. But what made my blood run cold was the woman standing next to her. It was my adoptive mother, Kimberly. 25 years younger, but unmistakable. She had known. She had known all along exactly whose child she was stealing. This wasn't just about finding a kidney match. This was personal. Tell me about this photo, I said, placing it on Rory's desk. His face hardened as he looked at it. Sarah and Kimberly were best friends in college, he explained, until Sarah met me. Kimberly, she had feelings for me, made it very clear. When I chose Sarah instead, she never forgave her, Martina finished, examining the photo. And when she found out about your kidney matching program, she didn't just find out about it, Cody interrupted, rushing in with a laptop. Sir, look at this. I found records of Kimberly working at the adoption agency during that time. She had access to all the medical screening data. The pieces clicked into place. All those cold birthdays, those distant hugs, the way she'd look at me sometimes, with something darker than indifference in her eyes. She wanted to hurt you, I whispered to Rory, both of you, and she got her chance when Cadence got sick. The perfect revenge, Martina said. Take your child, use her as spare parts for her own daughter. My phone buzzed again. Kimberly. Answer it, Martina said. Put it on speaker. I did. Where are you? Kimberly's voice filled the room. The hospital called. You missed your final screening. I know what you did. My voice was steady. I know about Sarah, about Rory. Silence. Then, who have you been talking to? Did you hate her that much? That you'd steal her baby? You don't understand anything. Her voice turned cold. Sarah had everything. The man, the baby, the perfect life. She didn't deserve it. And I deserve to be your personal organ farm? You were meant to be mine, she snapped. He was meant to be mine. But now you'll serve a better purpose, saving my real daughter. Rory's hands clenched into fists. Martina was recording everything. I'm not doing the surgery, I said. Yes, you are. One way or another, we still have legal custody rights. We can petition the court. I'm 25, I cut in. You have no rights over my body. We'll see about that. She paused. Did you know your sister is in the hospital now, getting worse by the hour? Her blood pressure is dropping. The doctors say without a transplant soon. She's not my sister. No, Kimberly agreed, her voice like ice. You're just the spare parts we ordered, and you'll fulfill your purpose, or I'll make sure everyone knows what a heartless monster you are, letting an innocent girl die. Like you let Sarah die? The words hung in the air. Another pause. Longer this time. What are you talking about? The car accident, 2 months after you took me. Was it really an accident? You can't prove anything. But her voice shook slightly. Maybe not, but I can prove what you did to me. Every document, every illegal transaction, every medical test you ran before buying me. It's all coming out, Kimberly. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I looked at Rory, drawing strength from his nod. The press conference is tomorrow. Every major network. You're bluffing. Mom? A weak voice in the background. Cadence. Who are you talking to? No one, sweetheart. Rest. Is it Margaret? Let me talk to her. I hung up. The room was silent except for the soft whir of Martina's recorder. Well, she said finally, that was quite the confession, especially the part about Sarah's death. We should have the police look into that. Tomorrow? Rory asked. I nodded. Tomorrow, at the hospital, during their transplant coordination meeting. I want to see their faces when it all falls apart. We'll be ready, Martina assured me. Security, legal team, press, everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Cadence. Please, Maggie, I'm scared. I don't want to die. For the first time since this began, I felt a flicker of doubt. She was innocent in all this, just a pawn in her mother's revenge game like me. But then I remembered all the times she'd watched silently as Kimberly tore me down, all the times she'd accepted her golden child status without question. Maybe there were no innocent pawns after all. Tomorrow, I said again, deleting her message. We end this. The hospital conference room felt smaller than I remembered. My parents sat on one side of the table, Cadence between them in a wheelchair. The transplant coordinator shuffled papers nervously, glancing at the door. She's late, Kimberly snapped. How typical. Right on cue, I walked in, but not alone. Rory entered behind me, followed by Martina and 2 other lawyers. The color drained from Kimberly's face. What is this? My father demanded, standing up. Who are these people? Sit down, Adam, I said quietly. You'll want to hear this. Cadence gripped her mother's arm. Mom, what's happening? I placed the file on the table, the same one Amy had given me, now thick with additional documents. Would you like to explain, Kimberly, or should I? Margaret, stop this nonsense right now, Kimberly hissed. Think about your sister. She's not my sister. I turned to the transplant coordinator. Did they tell you how they found their perfect donor match? Did they mention the illegal adoption ring? The coordinator's eyes widened. What? Don't listen to her, Adam interrupted. She's just trying to get out of her obligations. Obligations? Rory stepped forward. Like your obligation to tell the truth about stealing my daughter? Kimberly's face went from white to gray. You remember me, Kim? It's been, 25 years? Since you took my baby to punish my wife? Cadence looked between us, confusion turning to horror. Mom, what's he talking about? I opened the file, spreading out the documents. They bought me, Cadence, after you got sick. Specifically chose me because I was a kidney match. That's all I ever was to them, to you. That's not... Mom, tell her that's not true. But Kimberly sat frozen, staring at Rory. Adam put his head in his hands. The adoption agency you used? Martina spoke up. It was shut down for trafficking children. We have proof you knew exactly what you were doing. And the death of Sarah Collins 2 months later. Police are very interested in reopening that investigation. You can't prove anything, Kimberly whispered. I pulled out my phone, played the recording from yesterday. Her own voice filled the room. You were meant to be mine. He was meant to be mine. Cadence started crying. All this time, like you let me believe. Everything I did was for you. Kimberly grabbed her daughter's hand. To save you. By stealing someone else's child? Rory's voice was thunder. By planning to cut her open and take her organs? The transplant coordinator stood up. I'm calling hospital administration. This is criminal. Already done, Martina said smoothly. They're on their way, along with the police. Margaret. Adam looked at me pleadingly. Regardless of how you came to us, we raised you. We're your family. Family? I laughed. You were my jailers, my farmers, growing me for harvest. Please, Cadence whispered. I don't want to die. For a moment I wavered, but then I remembered every birthday forgotten, every achievement ignored, every cold shoulder and cutting remark. You're not going to die, I said. You'll just have to wait for a donor, like everyone else. You ungrateful little... Kimberly lunged across the table, but Rory's security team was faster. They restrained her as hospital security rushed in. Miss, one guard said to me, are you all right? I looked at my former family. Adam, broken and small. Kimberly, wild-eyed and struggling. Cadence crying in her wheelchair. No, I said honestly. But I will be. The next hour was a blur of statements and signatures. Kimberly and Adam were led away in handcuffs. Cadence was taken back to her room. Reporters gathered outside, alerted by Rory's media contacts. Ready? Rory asked softly, as we prepared to face the press. I straightened my spine. They wanted their perfect revenge story. Let's give them one. Margaret, Cadence called as we passed her room. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I paused in the doorway. Yes, you did. You just didn't want to ask questions. The cameras were waiting. Time to tell the world what family really meant to the Hardings and what it would cost them. The story broke like a tsunami. Every major network led with the headline, Woman discovers she was adopted as organ donor for sister. My face was everywhere, alongside pictures of Kimberly and Adam being led out of the hospital in handcuffs. The interview requests are overwhelming, Cody said, scrolling through his tablet. Good Morning America, Today Show, 60 Minutes. No interviews yet, Martina advised. Let the legal process play out first. We were in Rory's office when my phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. Margaret? A familiar voice. It's Amy, from the hospital. I put her on speaker. Is everything okay? You need to know. Your mother, Kimberly, she's been calling every hospital in the region, trying to find a judge who will grant an emergency medical guardianship over you. My blood ran cold. Can she do that? No, Martina said firmly. You're an adult, but the fact that she's trying... My phone beeped with a voicemail notification. Kimberly. Play it, Rory said quietly. I pressed play. How dare you? Her voice was unhinged. After everything we did for you, we gave you a home, we fed you, clothed you, educated you, and this is how you repay us? By letting my daughter die? Jesus, Cody muttered. You think you've won? She continued. You think running to Daddy makes you safe? I made you. I chose you. I owned you for 25 years, and I will not let you destroy everything now. One way or another, you will give Cadence that kidney. Even if I have to, the message cut off. Send that to me, Martina said. It's evidence of continued harassment and threats. My phone buzzed again. A text from Adam. Please, whatever your mother did, don't punish Cadence. She's innocent. They're trying every angle, Rory observed. Another text came through. This one from Cadence. They're moving me to palliative care. Mom's in jail. Dad's not speaking. Is this what you wanted? I threw the phone across the room. Cody caught it smoothly, like he'd been expecting it. We need to release a statement, he said. Get ahead of their narrative. Martina nodded. Short, factual, emotional. Margaret, are you ready? An hour later, I stood before a forest of microphones in Hoffman Media's press room. Cameras flashed as I began to read. 25 years ago, I was stolen from my father and sold through an illegal adoption ring. Not out of love, not to complete a family, but because I was a tissue match for their biological daughter. I was raised not as a child, but as an organ farm. When I discovered the truth, my adoptive mother threatened me with legal action to force me to donate my kidney. Today, I stand here not just for myself, but for every child who has been trafficked, exploited, or treated as a means to an end. This ends now. The questions exploded. Did you know you were adopted? What about your sister's condition? Will you press charges? How did your biological father find you? Rory stepped up to the microphone. My daughter has been victimized enough. We are pursuing all legal options against those responsible. That's all for now. Back in his office, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Messages from old classmates, distant relatives, even Kimberly's friends. Look at this, Cody said, turning his laptop around. A local news site showed Cadence being wheeled out of the hospital, reporters swarming. I just wanted a chance to live, she was saying tearfully. I didn't know what my parents had done. Playing the victim card, Martina observed. We expected this. She is dying, I said quietly. Yes, Rory agreed, but that's not your fault. It's not your responsibility. My phone lit up with another voicemail. Kimberly again, this time from jail. You want revenge? Fine, but remember this. When Cadence dies, her blood is on your hands. You're worse than I ever was. At least I was trying to save someone. You're just watching her die out of spite. I looked at Rory. Am I? No, he said firmly. You're surviving, and tomorrow we fight back harder. The news played in the background. Breaking, police reopen 1998 fatal car accident investigation. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. The courthouse was packed. Reporters lined the halls as Martina led me through security. Rory followed close behind, his presence a shield against the shouted questions and camera flashes. All rise, the bailiff called. Kimberly and Adam stood at one table with their lawyer. She'd lost weight in jail, but her eyes still burned when they met mine. Cadence sat behind them in her wheelchair, looking frail but camera-ready in a soft pink sweater. Your Honor, their lawyer began, this is a simple matter of medical necessity. A young woman will die without this transplant. Objection, Martina stood. This is a matter of bodily autonomy and the aftermath of human trafficking. Trafficking? Their lawyer scoffed. They gave her a loving home. A home? I couldn't help but speak up. They raised me like livestock. Miss, the judge warned, please let your counsel speak. Your Honor, their lawyer continued, regardless of the adoption circumstances, we're asking for an emergency medical order. Without this transplant, Cadence has weeks, maybe days. Because they planned it that way, Martina countered. They specifically acquired my client as an infant to serve as an organ donor. We have the medical screening documents, the illegal adoption records, and evidence of ongoing harassment and threats. She played Kimberly's voicemails, each threat, each manipulation echoing through the courtroom. Cadence started crying. Adam stared at the floor. Furthermore, Martina continued, we have new evidence regarding the death of Sarah Collins, my client's biological mother, 2 months after her daughter's disappearance. Kimberly's head snapped up. Phone records show multiple calls between the defendant and the mechanic who last serviced Mrs. Collins' car before the fatal accident. The same mechanic who recently admitted to tampering with the brake lines. The courtroom erupted. The judge banged his gavel. Order! Order! This is ridiculous. Kimberly stood up, shaking off her lawyer's restraining hand. Everything I did was for my daughter, my real daughter. Mrs. Harding, the judge warned. You want to know the truth? She pointed at me. Yes, I took her. Yes, I chose her because she matched. Sarah had everything. The perfect life, the perfect husband, the perfect baby. She didn't deserve any of it. And when my Cadence got sick, I saw my chance. 2 birds, 1 stone. Mom, stop, Cadence begged. No, they need to understand. What mother wouldn't do anything to save her child? So yes, I bought her. I raised her. I made sure she stayed healthy, kept her kidney perfect for when we needed it. That was her purpose. Enough. The judge's gavel cracked like thunder. Mrs. Harding, you've just admitted to multiple felonies in open court. Bailiff, take her into custody. Your Honor, their lawyer tried, the medical necessity is irrelevant, the judge cut in. This court cannot and will not force one person to surrender their organs to another. Moreover, given these admissions and evidence, I'm referring this case to the district attorney for additional criminal charges. As Kimberly was led away screaming, I finally looked at Cadence, really looked at her. I'm sorry, she whispered. Are you? Or are you just sorry you're not getting my kidney? I didn't know about any of it, about Sarah, about what Mom did. But you knew something wasn't right. You knew how they treated me. You just didn't care as long as you got what you needed. She didn't answer. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed again. But this time, I was ready. Yes, Cadence is dying, I said into the microphones. And that's tragic. But her mother's crimes don't obligate me to save her. My body is not a warehouse of spare parts for the family that stole me. What about compassion? Someone shouted. Compassion? I felt Rory's hand on my shoulder, steadying me. Where was their compassion for 25 years? Where was their compassion when they bought a baby to harvest her organs? Where was their compassion when they killed my mother? The questions exploded again, but Martina was already leading us away. Police are reopening Sarah's case, she said quietly. With the mechanic's confession and Kimberly's outburst today, they'll have enough for additional charges. And Cadence, I asked, will be placed on the regular transplant list, like everyone else. It was over. But as we drove away, I saw Cadence being helped into an ambulance, and for the first time since this began, I felt something close to peace. Not because she was suffering, but because finally, I was free. The autumn wind whipped through the cemetery as I laid flowers on my mother's grave. Sarah Collins, beloved daughter, wife, mother. The weathered headstone had been neglected for years, but not anymore. She would be so proud of you, Rory said, standing beside me. She always fought for what was right, no matter the cost. My phone buzzed, a news alert. Kimberly sentenced to 25 years for trafficking, conspiracy in Colin's death. Another buzz. A text from Adam. Cadence got her transplant today. A true donor from the waiting list. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I thought you should know. I didn't respond. Some bridges stay burned. Ready for your meeting? Rory asked as we walked back to the car. The Hoffman Foundation's office buzzed with energy. In the conference room, dozens of faces looked back at me. All survivors of illegal adoption rings, all with stories like mine. The trafficking network that sold me wasn't unique, I began. They operated across state lines, matching babies to wealthy families based on medical compatibility. Today, we start fighting back. Martina clicked through presentation slides showing investigation results, legal strategies, support resources. My story made headlines, I continued, but each of yours matters just as much. With the Foundation's backing, we'll expose every agency, every facilitator, every family who treated children like spare parts. A woman raised her hand. What about the guilt? My adoptive sister died waiting for my bone marrow. The guilt isn't yours to carry, I said firmly. They created that situation, not you. Your body, your choice. After the meeting, Cody handed me a letter. From Cadence, it came to the office. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. Margaret, I'm recovering from my transplant. A 19-year-old college student died in a car accident. Her parents donated her organs. That's what real giving looks like, isn't it? Not theft disguised as family obligation. I've been thinking about what you said in court. That I knew something was wrong but didn't care. You were right. I watched them treat you like a backup plan, not a sister. I accepted their excuses because it was easier than facing the truth. Mom's conviction was announced today. Dad's living with my aunt. The perfect family was a lie, and I was too selfish to see it. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I understand now what they did to you, to your mother. It was monstrous, and I was complicit. Be happy, Margaret. Be free. Cadence. I folded the letter carefully. You okay? Rory asked. Getting there. I looked around the office, my office now, as the Foundation's new advocacy director. We have work to do. That evening, I visited Amy at the hospital. She'd lost her job for helping me, but gained a better one running the Foundation's medical ethics division. Look at this, she said, showing me a file. 3 more cases identified just this week. Parents shopping for designer babies with matching blood types. We'll stop them, I promised. Later, in my apartment, I opened my laptop to finish my victim impact statement for Kimberly's sentencing. The words flowed easily now. You thought you could own me, control me, use me. You saw me as nothing but spare parts for your real daughter. But here's what you created instead. A warrior. A voice for the voiceless. Living proof that your victims can become victors. You didn't break me. You armed me. And now I'm using that weapon to dismantle everything you built. Every trafficking ring. Every illegal adoption. Every attempt to treat children like commodities. You wanted me to save one life. Instead, I'll save thousands. That's my real purpose, the one I chose for myself. I hit send and walked to the window. The city lights blurred through happy tears. Not because I'd won, but because finally, after 25 years, I knew exactly who I was. Not spare parts, not a backup plan, not a means to an end, just Margaret. Daughter of Sarah and Rory, survivor, fighter, free, and that was everything.